Kingdom.
Fuck that house now. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it. Niggas just can't take it. Yeah.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Cypher and Rage. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at NetsKingdom1, and make sure you subscribe. All our Twitters are at the bottom. So we're gonna break down today Khaman Maluach. We're coming off a painful draft lottery. The Nets got the 8th pick in the draft. So there are a couple players that are gonna assumedly fall to us. Khaman Maluach is one of those players. So we're going to do a scattering report on Khaman. So we all know he's 7'2", 250 pounds, from Sudan. High school was the NBA Academy. He started playing basketball like 5 years ago. I think he picked up the basketball at age 14, 15, around that age. And he started getting noticed. Luol Deng was one of his mentors in the NBA Africa Academy League, and he started getting noticed. He got picked up by Duke for his freshman year, one of the youngest guys in this draft, 18. And I guess before we get into his strengths, I want to kind of start with his weaknesses. What do you think are your concerns with Khaman coming into the NBA?
Okay, with Maluach, here are the things. So he cannot create. He cannot create his own shot in basically any way. No off the dribble stuff, no driving, no real post up stuff too. And Duke didn't really run post up actions for him at all. I think 8 possessions throughout the regular season.
Yeah.
So there's no on ball creation there. He gets all of his points from rim running, either in transition, pick and roll, offensive rebound putbacks. That's what he does. And he's really good at it. He was 78% at the rim, which is elite. I believe he shot higher in transition, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Good free throw shooter, 77% from the line. Didn't take that many. I'd say the concerns with him are he's not a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Can't create, and his passing vision isn't really that good. And the short roll, kickouts, he only averaged half assists per game at Duke.
Yeah, with me, I think it's we know he's a play finisher, and we know he's going to be a lob threat in the league. Like I said, during this combine, we saw the measurables were insane. He probably had the best measurables in the draft. I mean, 7 foot barefoot, 250 pounds, 9'8" or 9'7" standing reach. He can stand on his tippy toes and dunk. It's scary. It's crazy. And the wingspan is long. So we knew the measurables were good. The agility drills, pro lane agility drills, he looked decent. Going side to side laterally, his lateral quickness, and he didn't blow anybody out of the water, but it just looked, decent for his size. And then the shooting, I think, is what caught the combine's eyes, like you were saying. He hasn't in the NBA Academy, and the usage at Duke, they didn't really use him as a floor spacer. But there were possessions where he would take 1 or 2 threes and make them. Not at a high clip. I don't know if it's volume, not even high volume, but he would.
He was 4 of 16.
Yeah,
for the whole season.
Exactly. So it's not a high volume, but it's he would take him some possessions. But yeah,
I would not consider him a shooter by any means. And
no. I was gonna say, but what caught the combine? The scouts were whoa, yesterday or 2 days ago, or because he went 48% on the shooting and conditioning drills, which was pretty good. I don't know what he got for the spot up, but
I think Derik Lively did that too, even better. Yeah, during his combine, I've seen Ben Simmons.
Oh, his pro day, his pro day. His pro day, he made 14 or 15 threes, something like that.
Yeah, it's not the same. Look, could he develop a jump shot? Because he's still so young, and maybe the form looks fine, but He didn't do it at Duke, and until he does it on an NBA court,
Yeah.
like I would not expect him to develop any kind of jump shot.
Yeah. And it also depends on like the team he's on with the development because like is he gonna be on a team that allows him or gives him the green light to shoot it like that? And the usage, because like I said, at Duke, his usage wasn't high because he had all those star guys behind him. Like I think his whole team is basically getting drafted. Tyrese Proctor, Sion James, Cooper, of course, Con Kneppel, all these guys are getting drafted. So his usage wasn't very high on that team. So another concern for me is, like I said, he has the shooting upside. That's what you have to write down in your scouting report, because when you think about the strengths, the play finishing, lob threat, great defense. He's a great rim protector, and then he can slide his feet. You can't teach 7'2" guys that can slide their feet, and move laterally like he can. Certain possessions, we see him guard like kind of faster type wings guards. Not saying he's like an outstanding point of attack defender, but you need some switchability in this league, and he has that at his young age. But then what I noticed we'll bring up in the tournament where most Nets fans are like, oh, this man, he doesn't rebound. He had 0 rebounds in the Final Four. There's a couple of games during the season where he had 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 4 rebounds. So, yeah, Rage, what do you think about like the rebounding part of it? What do you say to Nets fans when they're saying, oh, Khaman's not going to be able to rebound in the NBA or something like that?
It's obviously interesting to obviously, see games where, the rebound count is low, but it's ultimately a couple games or one game. Like you can't judge somebody off of one game, or if, a few games. Khaman is a good rebounder, and ultimately there's just too much upside in his game to ignore. And ultimately you don't see that type of, skill and type of speed on somebody that tall. And if you look in the draft, there's not really anybody else at his size that can really move and really guard anybody who's, what I'm saying, smaller, even like forwards. Like there's, a lot of even like, like a Queen or, what I mean? You still have to watch out for, that's going to be a guy who's going to be guarding the paint. Like Khaman can do more than just that. And there's at least a little bit of a shot there. So just ultimately with the rebounding, I'd just say like, it's just a few games, and it's obviously, like I said, interesting, but like he is a good rebounder. He's 7'1". He's just got to be put also in the right opportunity. Like we talked about, Duke was never giving him really an opportunity to be able to do anything. Like you said, everybody on that team is essentially getting drafted, and Khaman was essentially an outlier. His job was to play defense, and he played his role, and he's still going to get drafted within the top 10.
Yeah, I really think going forward, like a lot of people got to realize like he's so young. So it's like when you're drafting a guy like this, it's more of a project, it's not, everything's not going to be for certain. And going forward, like his his ceiling, Saif, like where do you see his ceiling going to be in this NBA if everything we put it all together? Like let's say he's able to shoot threes, he's able to rebound, position himself, the defense is great, like it's going to be great. Where do you see his ceiling?
A realistic ceiling, because with the shooting, look, I'm not bought in on the shooting like you guys are. The potential, because to me, if he had like taken them and just missed them, I would feel more confident about the shooting. But to me, it's worse if you just don't take threes than taking threes and being bad at them. With him, I think his ceiling is really like an Evan Mobley, like a taller Evan Mobley. If the shooting kind of comes around, if the playmaking improves, in addition to his current skills, rebounding, rim protection, being able to switch out, then he's a tall Evan Mobley. And Mobley was arguably the second best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference, and he just won DPOY, so that's a very high ceiling.
Yeah.
And with Maluach, look, he's a good rebounder. I think he averaged 2.7 rebounds, offensive rebounds per game at Duke, which is, he only played 21 minutes per game. So to be able to average that many offensive rebounds is excellent. Like he's a good rebounder. I'm not going to judge him off one really bad game in the tournament.
Yeah.
And another interesting stat, real quick, that I found is, despite him only playing 21 minutes per game, he led he led the ACC conference in total blocks. So
Wow.
the shot blocking, even though he played like less minutes than a lot of his fellow centers,
Hmm.
his shot blocking is there. The rim protection is there. Like his defensive intensity, like he has a very high defensive floor.
Yeah.
And so at worst, he's going to be a very good defensive big with rim running capabilities. Like that's his
Yeah.
floor, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like when I was watching him and like the eye test tells me like this guy is really fast in transition too when he rim runs. For a big guy, like if you watch his pro lane agility drills and like him on the court just running full speed, he's pretty fast. Then they'll draft ESPN Jonathan Givney compared his measurements to Rudy Gobert, and he actually is 15 pounds heavier than Rudy Gobert. But when you look at him, his stock is like he's kind of muscular. So at 18, he has that weight on him, good like NBA size weight, so he's not going to get really pushed around like a lot of skinnier bigs. And he still has that kind of speed and transition ability to rim run. And he has a play finishing lob threat and just a pure size because you need 7. This modern NBA is getting bigger, so you're gonna need size guys to guard the Wembys, the Chets, the 7-footers in the league, the Isaiah Hartensteins, those type of bigs. So you gotta need guys to guard those guys.
If he falls to 8 and we get him, like I wouldn't hate that pick at all. Like there's plenty of upside there. Like I said, I think he could be a tall Evan Mobley at his best, but his floor is so high. Like he could be a real piece to build around in the future.
Yeah, he has a safe floor because at the worst, like you can just use him as a connective lob threat piece. Every finals team or championship kind of has that type of piece. You saw the Celtics had like, the KP. I know KP could shoot, but that type of big. And then in the past years of the NBA champions, that finishing big that you need for lob threat ability and that's defensive that can rim protect, and be a really good defensive center. I kind of think like Tyson Chandler, those old Mavs teams that were good. I kind of think of like those type of bigs. So let us know in the comments how you guys feel about Khaman Maluach. A lot of people don't really like, the 8th pick to be on him. Some people love him, some people hate him, but let us know your opinion on his scouting report. What do you think are his weaknesses? Will you take the upside? Because the Nets at the 8th pick are going to need an upside pick, in my opinion. Khaman Maluach is 18. I think he's like almost 3 months older than Cooper, and Cooper was December. I think his birthday is in October, September, something like that. So he's very, very young, and you're gonna have a lot of years to develop him. So appreciate you guys so much. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, that's Kingdom One, and we'll be back with more scouting reports